What's up, YouTube? Not sure when you're going to be watching this, but for me, today it is December 20th, 2022. Holiday, it's the week before Christmas. The holiday stress has kicked in. And I don't know about you, but I just feel like I had a hard day. I feel like kind of running away. The fight or flight has kicked in. I got a massage last night, and note to self, or to you, I never want to do a massage with, I think moving forward, without cupping because the cupping removes those toxins. And I think what's happening is the toxins are just like sitting in my body. That, and I also had a Wendy like Frosty and fries last night, which is totally against my diet. So probably not drinking enough water. Anyway, so these toxins are just building up, and I feel like I need like emotional release. So I'm about to head to a restorative yoga class in the top of the next hour. But in the meantime, instead of spewing out, I just don't feel like spewing out some preachy, you know, video about, just preaching and stuff. So I'm going to kind of turn it into my yoga practice and yeah. So I'm going to actually read a little bit from this book, and yeah, I just kind of feel like turning it into yoga. Um, Sometimes instead of when we don't have the answers. For me, my solution is yoga. I turn to yoga as the solution. Um, and sometimes instead of forcing things, we just have to let them be. Yeah. Today I just felt like I was sometimes I just feel like I'm forcing things and like hitting a brick wall, and that's kind of how I feel in um, wondering if like in my relationship, and I'm wondering if that is always how it's going to be, or if it's worth the fight, or if it's just not meant to be. So completely raw and vulnerable with you guys today. This book is called Bringing Yoga to Life, and it is the everyday practice of enlightened living. I'm just going to read this excerpt. I think it's actually the first page I opened in the book, which I have a belief that usually like that's the page you're supposed to read. So I'm just going to read this to us both. Thus, I call the author is Donna Farhi. She travels around the world. She's done yoga her whole life, and she teaches retreats and all this stuff. She's very well known. Thus, I call the practice of yoga a life practice. By life practice, I mean an ongoing inquiry into how to be completely engaged and intimate with the wild force that runs through everything and is running through us, if we would but pause long enough to notice. A life practice, then, is anything that we do over an extended period of time that consistently and reliably deepens the connection to our experience and expression of aliveness. While yoga offers us a vast repertoire of formal practices that accommodate the different predilections of individuals, almost any activity can be used as a life practice if it reconnects us with the source of our aliveness. Let me read that again. While yoga offers us a vast repertoire of formal practices that accommodate the different predilections of individuals, almost any activity can be used as a life practice if it reconnects us with the source of our aliveness. So what makes you feel alive? Yoga makes me feel alive. There is no comprehending the willy ways of the daemon who lures us to paint, to sing, to dance, compose music, build sanctuaries, plant gardens, raise children, write poetry, climb mountains, and do all of the things humans do to discover themselves in life. Wow, paint, sing, dance, compose music, build sanctuaries. I think I just need to do more of that. I think staring at a computer during my work day, I'm just ready to level up, guys. Oh, yeah, but creative expression and like sitting in my femininity and being able to express my creativity, that is just key to my freedom and feeling alive. I need this. All right, so all such activities, if practiced mindfully and with passionate devotion, can be called a form of yoga. The greater purpose of a formal yoga practice, however, is to apply the acute attentiveness we learn on the mat to all aspects of our everyday life, so that this unitive awareness filters through our relationships, our work, and our play. I think that's why there's currently like a disconnect and a divide in my life, because I have this yoga practice and I'm not necessarily applying it to all of my relationships and in my life every day. But I'm really excited about YouTube because I'll do more of these yoga videos, and I feel like this will allow me to be more in alignment. If our formal practice fails to translate in this way, it has failed us utterly. By anchoring our spiritual practice always within everyday life, we remove the arbitrary barriers between what is considered spiritual and extraordinary and what is material and ordinary. By anchoring our spiritual practice always within everyday life. Man, being spiritual is a lot of work, because most people just aren't living their lives mindfully. So, yeah, it makes it really hard to be in relationships when you're not acting spiritually. Also, I think I just better check myself here. Okay. By life practice, I also mean any activity or attitude that helps us have a direct experience of the shimmering life force that stands behind and suffices all things. I'm going to just keep pausing because I keep getting these downloads here. So here's a little preacher. Okay, so we can't expect other people to be the light and be the example. We kind of have to be that for ourselves. And for me, it's really hard. I do feel like I have to be that example most of the time. I'm so ready to just surround myself with more yogis and spiritual women. I feel like I'll just feel more heard and understood. And sometimes I just feel like I'm hitting a brick wall talking to people that just aren't on that spiritual plane. I definitely think it would help me if I did that. Okay, I'm totally projecting. So life practice is any activity or attitude that helps us have a direct experience of the shimmering life force that stands behind and suffices all things. So through such a practice, we come to know that the most reliable and consistent thing about us is the silent substratum that lives, hold on a second. Yeah, that lies beneath all passing and changing phenomena. In yoga, that lies beneath all passing and changing phenomena. In yoga, we create a situation in which relaxing into life becomes more likely to occur. This deliberate and intentional creating of a context in which we explore the invisible, magical, and mysterious is the basis of all true and authentic yoga practice. Very simply, we set aside time and a quiet place to engage in inquiries that will remind us of who we really are. We do this practice as often as necessary for this understanding to become an implicit part of our being. Whew, can't wait to go to yoga tonight. For most of us, this means practicing from the first breath to the last. At the same time, a life practice must help us to find a practical relationship with the dynamic and unpredictable aspects of our life. We establish a calm, abiding center, not to fortify ourselves against the chaos of life, but to help us become resilient, tolerant, and accepting of the inevitable, perplexing, and often agonizing losses we all go through. A calm, abiding center and a fully engaged life, therefore, go hand in hand. This popcorn in my throat. This inner tempering through the fire of practice allows us to live at higher and higher levels of change, to feel intensely, love intensely, and work intensely without fracturing in the process. We make firm this abiding center of equanimity, but not to sequester ourselves from life or to make life less lively. Rather, as the photographer Henry Cartier-Bresson once said about capturing life through the lens of his camera, we discipline reality. Cartier-Bresson did not lessen the poignancy of his subject matter through being attentive to it. He did not lessen the poignancy of his subject matter through being attentive to it. In the same way, when we practice yoga, we do not dampen the fiery nature of life. If anything, we place ourselves right in the fierce heat of the center. Well, that was the page 40 and 41. That was definitely the page that I was meant to read today. I hope that helped you. Feeling kind of heavy on this holiday week. Whenever you watch this video, I hope that it reminds you, I hope that it brings you peace and joy, and I hope that it reminds you to know that number one, your challenges you're not alone with, and number two, yoga is amazing if you haven't explored it. And number three, yoga helps me in trying not to react to everything, but just being that sturdy steeple, standing there while the things happen around me. So, I bid you adieu with that, and thank you for watching, and subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and like this video, and I would love to see you next time. All right, ciao, namaste.